Hi guys, welcome to the Ratchet Christian. I am the Ratchet Christian. If this is your first time, hi, thanks for stopping by. If it's not, thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. So today we are going to be talking about forgiveness, which isn't something that we as believers talk about a lot, or even non-believers talk about at all. And I feel like it's like super vital, super important if you want to live a healthy, fruitful life. So we got on the topic of forgiveness because last week a friend of mine had called me and had told me that, somebody from our whole hometown, had said maybe like something, I don't know what it is that they had said, but we're like asking him about me or something that happened in high school. I'm like, Jesus, like we graduated high school like 8 years ago. People are still talking about high school? But either way, I was just kind of annoyed. Like, that's so annoying. Like, I barely speak to this person. Like, I don't understand why they're asking about me. And so, I was in my bag a little bit, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go on Facebook. And I wasn't gonna like say anything crazy. I was just gonna be like, I wish people in my hometown would just grow up, or like just something shady like that. But even as I was writing it out, I'm like, what's the point? Like, I don't even really care. Like, I wish I cared more. I didn't care. And I'm just kind of like, you know what? Let me just let it go. It's no big deal. Like, people say stuff about me, I say stuff about people. I'm human, they make mistakes, I do too, and it's all love. Like, it's all good. Literally no big deal. And if I were to see this person, I'm gonna give them the biggest hug ever and tell them that Jesus loves them, and we could talk about the YouTube channel or talk about whatever is going on in their life, because there's really like no sweat off my back. But I wish I was always like that. I haven't always been that way, probably like a year or two ago, I would have held on to that forever. I would have been in my feelings, and the next time I saw her, I probably wouldn't have spoke. But you know what? Like, God healed me in that area of my life, because I used to be a very bitter and unforgiving person. I'm not gonna lie, I was bitter. Somebody would tell me that I was bitter. I'm like, that's not true. But at the end of the day, people can feel your vibe. Although you think you hide it well, although you feel like you're not this person, like, people can kind of tell, and it's like they pick up on it. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be this type of person, so let me just work on that. But that all started because I was just riding in my car one day, and there was just one particular person that was really in unforgiveness with. Like, I felt like they had caused me a lot of hurt, had did a lot of shady things to me, and I was just like, God, I hate them. I hate this person, and I feel like they don't deserve to be happy. I feel like they don't deserve to move to another town and do this to somebody else. Like, I was just kind of going off, and at the end of it, I felt so bad because I had never admitted to God that I actually hated someone, and then I was like, oh, forgive me, I know that's not right, but then, God just spoke to me and kind of told me, like, that's good, actually, the fact that you confess that you don't like this person, because now you can actually address it. When you're in denial, like, I wish them well, I love this person, like, it's no big deal, like, I forgive you and all that stuff, but you didn't really forgive the person. You can't really heal or move forward in forgiving them if in your mind you're still lying to yourself and said that you've forgiven them, and truly you haven't. You really haven't let it go. You still think about it. You still hold it against them. And that's what God was administering onto me. And that season of my life, I think, was like last year or the year before that. I was listening to a lot of sermons about forgiveness. I was being intentional. I was reading more about forgiveness, how to do it, where do I start. I would go to church and there'd be preaching sermons on forgiveness. I would be listening to talk radio, and then all of a sudden they would start talking about forgiveness. Like, all around me, God just kept on speaking about forgiveness. I'm like, okay, I catch your drift, I catch your vibe. And slowly but surely, I started to work on my forgiveness. I started to heal in that area of my life. I started to confess my sins and the secret grudges that I held against people, and I started to get free. Because what we don't realize is when we're walking around in unforgiveness actually blocks blessings. If you're praying for a blessing, you're praying for a new job, you're praying for a new car, you're praying for just a change in your situation, you might need to really think about if you might have some unforgiveness in your heart, and that's what's holding up the problem. Because if you're living right, you're praying, you're going to church, and you still aren't seeing breakthroughs, you really need to think, like, who do I secretly have a grudge against in my heart? Who am I not forgiving? Because that can lead to a root of bitterness, which can get in the way of you receiving your blessings. So in 1 John chapter 1 verse 9, it says, but if we confess our sins to God, he will keep his promise and do what is right. He will forgive us our sins and purify us from all our wrongdoing. Like I just said, I had that moment where I confessed to God, like, I hate this person. I really don't like them. And I don't think it's fair that you're always blessing them because they don't deserve it. I felt bad in that instant, like, God, I'm sorry, for saying that. But God was like, no, that's good. Because when you hold something a secret, that's when the devil can use it against you. And you can walk around feeling shame or like guilt, feeling this way about a certain person. But God's like, no, tell me how you actually really feel. Keep it real with me, because at the end of the day, I hear your thoughts. I know what you're secretly thinking. What you say out of your mouth is not matching with your heart. And I see it. So just be real. Because when you're real, when you put it out there on the table, God can heal it. God can address it. So the next verse is Ephesians chapter 4, verses 31 through 32. It says, get rid of all bitterness, poison, and anger. No more shouting of insults. No more hateful feelings of any sort. Instead, be kind and tenderhearted to one another and forgive one another as God has forgiven you through Christ. Just like this verse said, it's like, I know all of us, if we've been on this earth long enough, have done stuff that we needed forgiveness for. We've sinned against God. We've sinned against people. I've lied. I've cheated. I've betrayed. I've backstabbed. I've done it. And so I've asked God to forgive me of those things, and I know that he has. And so God's saying, if you expect me to forgive you, I expect you to forgive other people. Don't come asking me for forgiveness when you can't forgive the person that's right in front of you. So we're supposed to forgive one another, and we're supposed to be kind to one another and be tenderhearted towards one another. Let's move on to the next verse, which is Matthew chapter 6, verses 14 through 15. And it says, if you forgive others the wrongs they have done to you, your Father in heaven will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others, then your Father will not forgive the wrongs you have done. That's the Bible. That's God's word right there. I know I just said it, but this is God confirming it. Like, if you want to be forgiven of your sins, you must first forgive other people, and not because they deserve it, not because they even apologize. Some people won't apologize. Some people might not even think that they're in their wrong. But for your own health and for your own mental well-being, you have to forgive people. You have to let it go and move forward. It doesn't mean what they did was okay, but that's just you accepting it and moving on, and just being like, you know what, at the end of the day, like, I know what kind of person you are, and that's cool. I know how to properly deal with you. If I told you something and you related to somebody else without my permission, I know not to tell you my business. If I depend on you for something and you don't come through, I have to forgive you for that. But I just know that maybe next time when I need something, you're not the person to ask, and we're cool, and you can ask me, because I will come through for you. But maybe I just know not to ask you. So, yes, so the world, which is like people outside of the church, outside of Christianity, they have their own version of forgiveness, and their version of forgiveness is you can forgive but never forget. I mean, clearly you can't like erase your memory. Of course you can't forget what somebody did to you, but if you're not actively trying to forget it and let it go, then you didn't really forgive them. I remember I used to work at this one job, and me and this one lady had gotten into it, and she used to cook. Like, we worked at a group home, so we would cook for the clients, and then she would also cook for the staff, and her food was bomb. Like, she could cook, but her and I got into it. And so she had came to me, she had apologized. It was like, you know what, like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, you know what, I accept your apology. In the back of my mind, like, but I'm not eating your food though. And God convicted me in that moment, like, why are you not going to eat her food? I'm like, because, like, I don't feel safe eating her food. What if she poisons me? And God's like, well, then you didn't really forgive her. Forgiveness is actually going back to point A, going back to how things actually were. And that's something I had to work on. She apologized to me, and I told her that I accepted it. So I can't be like, well, I accept your apology, and then when you offer me food, I'm like, oh no, I'm okay, and I actually really want to eat it. So that day she had cooked. She was like, oh, do you want to eat? I was like, you know what, sure, I'll love some of your food. And in that moment, like, I just felt so proud, so strong, being like the bigger person. And now, like, her and I, we're I wouldn't say that we're good friends, but we're cool. It's like when we first met her. Like, I like her, I love her, we had our differences, but like, we're perfectly fine. And it's because I forgave her all the way. I didn't give her partial forgiveness. Don't give people partial forgiveness where it's like, I forgive you, I just don't trust you. I forgive you, but just stay away from me though. Like, that's not forgiveness. When God forgives us, he forgets our sins. He says he puts them far away from him. When we do stuff and we're like, God forgive us, God's like, okay, it's done, I forgive you. And then we go back again, like, God, please forgive me. He's like, what are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about anymore. I've been forgave you for that. Stop bringing it up. Like, God forgives you right away. And that's what it is that he wants for us to be able to do, because you can just live a much lighter life, you know, when you're not carrying 500 insults from 2015 on your back and 10,000, you know, shades that you caught. It's like, just let it go. Like, who cares? Whatever. People are going to do stuff to you and it's going to suck, but all you can do is just forgive them and move forward with your life, because then that becomes their problem, not yours. When you hold on to something that somebody did, you can't move forward in that area of your life. If somebody did something to you in 2002 and you're still thinking about it, although it's 2018, guess what? Your heart is still in 2002. There's chains and shackles around your ankles that says 2002 because you're still back there. You can't move forward holding on to something from that long ago, even from a day ago. You know, I try to forgive people right away if I can, because if I let it sit and let it simmer, I'm going to start thinking, I'm going to start catching on. I'm like, I just let it go. And it just has changed my life, really. Like, being a bitter person, all that stuff, I'm like, I don't have time for it. These hands is too busy catching blessings to hold grudges. But I actually mean it. I see that meme all the time and I hate it. And I'm like, so annoying because people don't even really take that meme serious. But it's like, I feel like I take it serious. I don't care. You know, I let things go. My favorite thing, I'm like, it's none of my business. Even if it is my business, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. But anyways, there's a story in Matthew chapter 18 that I think was really, really good. It was about a servant that owed his master like 10,000 coins. And so the master was going around collecting his debts from his servants, and there was this one particular servant that owed him money. And the master, you know, he knew it was a lot of money. The servant was not going to be able to come up with it. He forgave the servant of his debt. He was like, you know what, I'm going to have compassion on you. I know you're working hard. Forget it. You know, it's no big deal. We're good. Debt level at 0, no problem. And so that servant was so, you know, he had been shown mercy. He was so excited about it, and he was just so happy. And then when he got off of work, he remembered that one of his fellow servants owed him some money. And it wasn't even 10,000 coins. He owed him less than that. And so he went up to the freaking other servant and was like, where's my money? And the other servant was like, I'm sorry, I don't have it right now. He's like, oh, you don't have it? Like, it was a problem. And I forgot what it is that he did to the other servant, but he didn't forgive the other servant of the debts that he had owed him. He had punished him, and I think it made him pay it back. Either way, he was cruel to this other servant that owed him. And so then the master heard about what the servant that he forgave had just done. And so he came to him like, word, like, I heard that you didn't forgive this other servant that owed you money right after I forgave you and you owed me money. And he's like, because you did that, guess what? I'm going to take you to be delivered to the tormentors until you can pay me back. I forgave you of your debt, and you out here harassing other people for money that they owed you. Now you got to pay me back. And so God says, likewise will I do unto you. If I forgive you of your sins and I forgive you of the things that you've done, and you walk around to the next person and don't forgive them, I'm going to deliver you up to be tormented. You're not going to have peace, because at the end of the day, it's a reciprocal exchange. I forgive you, forgive other people, and just let it flow and let it go. So we're getting to the end. How do I forgive people, Ratchet Christian? I just sat here and heard you wrap me up for these past 13 minutes. Give me some real answers. Well, I got some real answers, and I even numbered them so you could take notes. Okay, so number 1, know that it is not a feeling, it's a choice. You're not going to just wake up magically one day and feel like forgiving that person. No, it's going to be hard. But every day you're going to make a choice to say, you know what, I'm going to forgive them. I'm going to let it go. That was 5 years ago. What I do is when I think about something, and I'm thinking about something that happened a long time ago that made me upset, I literally think about how much time has passed. Like, if I'm thinking about something that happened 2 years ago, I'm like, girl, that was almost 700 and some odd days ago. You really thinking about that? If you're mad about something that happened 3 years ago, that's like, dude, that's almost 1,000 days have gone by. You're still thinking about it? Like, you have to think about the numerical aspects of it. Something that you're thinking about all the time, and it happened such a long time ago. Like, you got to let it go. So first, realize that it's a choice. You have to wake up every morning and decide to forgive people, because the devil's going to be in your ear like, remember what so-and-so did 5 years ago? It's like, yeah, cool, I remember. That's what's up. But it's cool, I forgave her. You know, God bless her. I hope she's doing well. Or, remember what they said? They're like, yeah, I mean, I remember what they said, but I'm choosing to forgive them. You know, that was like forever ago. And it's cool. It's no big deal. I've said things about people too. I'm sure they've forgiven me and God's forgiven me. So no big deal. So you just really got to talk back to that unforgiveness that the devil wants to encourage you to walk with every single day, and just make a choice that, nope, not today. Nope, I'm good. Get out of here. Satan, I can't. Don't have time. And so number 2, confess to God that what this person did hurt you and it's hard to forgive them. Like I had said earlier, God wants your honesty. He doesn't want you to be fake. He doesn't want you to, God, please bless this person because I forgive them, because he's looking down at your heart and your heart's like, Jesus, I just hope that they would die. Like, no, God sees right through you. So just confess, like, God, I really hate this person for what it is that they did to me, and it's really, really hard for me to forgive them. I need you to fill my heart with love for this person. Help me to see them the way that you see them. Help me to love them the way that you love them. Father God, what they did really, really hurt my feelings, and it affected my life so much, and I need you to help me to get over it, because I don't know how to do it myself. And when you do that, God will hear you. I promise you, he will guide you towards the right ways and the right avenues and steps that you need to take to forgive this person. And the third one is ask God to help you forgive them, and ask him to replace that hate that you feel with love. Like I said, when you're having that feeling, the devil wants to remind you, oh, this person did this person did that, just ignore it. Not even ignore it, but just shut him down. Be like, yes, that person may have lied to me, but guess what? I can think of 5 people that I've lied to, and God has forgiven me, so I'm going to forgive them. You got to talk back to that insecurity. You have to choose every day to be a forgiving person and to forgive that person over and over and over again until you're healed and whole in that area. And then fourth and lastly is pray for that person. Replace bad thoughts about them with good ones. So it's so powerful when you have a grudge against somebody and you pray for them. It's such a powerful thing. Like, instead of you thinking badly upon them, instead just be like, okay, this person was a liar. God, I pray that you will remove that lying spirit far from them. Father God, I pray that I'm the last person that they lied to. Father God, this person backstabbed me. I pray that whatever it is that happened in their life that caused them to be this way, I pray that you will heal them of that, Father God. It's so powerful when you pray for your enemies. Like, you get so free. It's kind of like when you're a Super Mario and you eat a mushroom and you grow. Like, it's just such a super dope feeling, and I just encourage you to do it. So those are the 4 steps that I had. It's not like I've arrived, I don't want to say I even struggle with it anymore, because I know what it is to do, but the devil still tempts me to be unforgiving, but I just ignore the guy and I just be like, I'm good. Somebody did something, it's all good, no problem. I'm going to do something tomorrow that God's going to need to forgive me for. So I owed him for it. Forgiveness all around, blessings and forgiveness for everybody. I'm buying. But yeah, so that is the end of our video. I tried to make it short. I was not successful, but whatever. 17 minutes of precious time, and hopefully you have learned something. And don't stop at my YouTube channel. Like I always say, Google other sermons about forgiveness. Mine is just the starting point. There's millions of other preachers and pastors that talk about forgiveness in a much better way. Pastor T.D. Jakes, just go into YouTube, type sermons on forgiveness, and get started in that area of your life. So I'm just going to close out with a prayer. And yes, here we go. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, Father God. Oh! And lead us not into temptation, Father God, but deliver us from, I forgot the rest of the part, but I just wanted to pray the part about forgiveness. Forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. I promise I know that whole prayer, guys. I just kind of choked up because I'm being put on the spot. I promise I know it. But all right, guys, it's Sunday. I hope you have a blessed week. I hope that you go into it on Monday forgiving people's sins and forgiving the things that people do throughout the week. And I just pray that all will be well. Okay, bye, guys. Have a good week.